What's up? I just got back from the Philippines and it was an amazing experience. I'm Filipino but was born in the United States and have never been there. I finally had the opportunity to visit and it exceeded my expectations in many ways. My whole life I've heard stories about the Philippines from my parents, family members, Filipino friends, just like people that have traveled there. So I've had this Frankenstein image in my head that was full of many different perspectives. Like it's beautiful, it's hot, the people are amazing, it's poor, always hold your bag close. Like many things, I understand that I wouldn't truly understand what the Philippines was like unless I went there and experienced it for myself. I went to several different parts of the Philippines and saw many different walks of life. All over the busy urban jungle of Manila, from Pasay to Las Piñas to Makati, the mountainous, rainy Tagaytay, where I saw perhaps the best view of my life so far, and the tourist hotspot of Boracay, an island known for its white sand beaches. And honestly, I was wrong about so many things. I was surprised and astonished by many beautiful things of the Philippines, but was also proven right by some other not so beautiful things. So, I wanted to tell you about for the first time. It took me 27 years to go. A good friend of mine invited my family and I to attend his wedding in Tagaytay and then visit Boracay for a few days afterwards. I have a big family as well as many friends, so I was among like 40 people who traveled from the States. Along with that, I have family on both sides that I got to meet for the first time. Unfortunately, my brother couldn't make it, so I'm already planning to go back. So, what was it like? Okay, first off, it's really hot and it's really humid. Check that off the list. For the most part, they've got two seasons, hot and hot with rain. Stepping out of the plane into the Manila airport, you could instantly feel the heat and the humidity. Manila was probably the hottest place that I visited, and they don't usually have AC unless it's in like a room, so hallways were always hot. Nothing you can't get used to though. I mean, if you're willing. I want to avoid giving pros and cons or telling you what's good and bad about the Philippines, because my preferences will probably differ from yours. But I will tell you about my experience, what I've observed, and what you could expect. Like many have said, Filipino people are among the friendliest people in the world. From service providers, drivers, hotel workers, fast food and restaurant employees, to my family and like random people, everyone made me feel like I was special. There's a warmth that Filipino people have that you could compare to like southern hospitality. People everywhere treated me like they were happy to see me. Oh, and the people there speak English. Most people speak English. I thought I had to speak in Tagalog, or at least in Taglish the whole time, but most people, especially service workers, understood English. Compared to life in America, the cost of living there is much lower. It's no secret that the Philippine economy is struggling. I mean, they are still a developing nation after all, but even then, the people were so friendly and accommodating. I don't know if I'm seeing this through like a touristy lens or anything, but everywhere I'd go, people would help me and my family out. Like the whole vibe was like they always shared, they always helped each other. It wasn't enough for you to be okay, but people wanted you to be better. Where a lot of the time in America, it's like, here you go. Okay, leave me alone, I'm busy. And they're very inclusive. Like, random people would talk to you. Good morning po. Hello, sir. I believe it comes from the shared struggle of just like living in the Philippines. I mean, it's a great place to travel and it's a great place to have fun, but it's not the best place to make a living. You can see that kind of thing in places with harsh weather conditions and poor economies too. They love to sing, dance, and eat, especially together, and I hardly ever did anything by myself. Even if I was like strolling the streets by myself, I'd meet and talk to just a bunch of people. But then again, that might just be me. So travel. Okay, the flight was long, 13 hours to get to Korea, then we had a layover, and then was another 3.5 hours to get to Manila. I watched all of the John Wick movies, and then some. Traveling is hard, especially in Manila. There are a lot of people, and a lot of stray dogs and cats too. Walking around is okay, but driving took forever. There's so many motorcycles and cars. Probably more motorcycles than cars. It would take like an hour to travel 5 miles. Everything is built close together, like homes, schools, places to spend your money on, like everything's right next to each other. So there's no shortage of people walking around or just hanging around outside. What I found interesting was that there was very little divide between rich and poor areas. You'd have a neighborhood with houses made out of concrete and scrap metal right next to a mall or a university. There are definitely parts that are nicer than others, but yeah, you should probably hold your bag close here. I frequently went to Las Piñas when I was there, a suburb of Manila. I visited the house that my mom and her family grew up in that my cousin still owns. It changed me, honestly. The people there don't have much, but the community is so strong. It was a humbling, eye opening experience filled with love, especially from my family. Coming out of it, I feel like I have a better understanding of where my parents come from, both literally and figuratively. So this place is a more scenic area than the first two cities. Lots of hills, lakes, trees, a volcano. It was interesting to see the different infrastructure here. Many buildings and houses were built along the trees and the mountains without much impact to the environment. And it rained, like a lot. The weather is much cooler here, and I found myself wearing jackets all the time. I stayed at the historic Taal Vista Hotel. Customer service here is great, and so is the food. It's got a great view of the lake along with the volcano. Walked around the main, busier street over there too, which was kind of like Manila but not as crammed. The wedding took place outside and it rained for like 6 hours. Bro got married in the jungle. Boracay is one of the tourist destinations in the Philippines, and they speak the most English over there out of all the places I visited. I think it lived up to the hype. There are people from all over the world over there, especially from Korea. Got one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever seen, the softest sand ever, and dogs everywhere. The weather was warm, but not too hot, and it rained a little bit too. There's lots of places to eat, bars, clubs, water activities, like general vacation stuff that you can do there. Stayed at the Hanan Crystal Sands Resort, which I also highly recommend. I just recommend this place. Do be aware that people want you to spend money over here. There's lots of vendors on the beaches, like people selling sunglasses, slippers, taho, lots of shops, restaurants, and everything in between, with hosts standing outside trying to get your attention and trying to get you to come in. I honestly started to feel like an from ignoring all these people. But you gotta learn how to keep walking, say no, and of course, barter if you are gonna buy something. If you wanted to buy a shirt, a bracelet, or do your hair at the beach, they'd usually present you with a higher price than what it's worth. So it can help your budget if you learn how to talk it down. Everyone is here to party. If you're into a relaxing getaway where nobody will bother you, this place might be a little too busy for you. Food! Oh my god, it took me this long to get to food. A lot of the food here isn't healthy or good for you. Their preferred foods are like chicken and pork and vegetables, but they're usually fried. Fried chicken is like the number one thing at fast food restaurants over here. Of course, you have Jollibee, but places like McDonald's and Burger King also sell fried chicken. In fact, there are a lot of American chains over here, like KFC, Popeyes, TGI Fridays, Starbucks. I went to Chili's. Starbucks doesn't sell fried chicken. I did find food that wasn't so bad for you over here, especially like the home cooked style Filipino food. Soups are big over here, so are grilled meats and rotisserie chicken. But keep in mind that the quality of their food here is different. Like, chickens are smaller and they're a little bit tougher than the ones that you can get in America. I did like McDonald's. Eating out is one thing I notice people doing all the time. In fact, going out in general is something that people do here. Not only were the restaurants always filled, but so were the malls. Like, malls over there are so crowded, much more crowded than the ones I'm used to in Dallas. Along with department stores and food restaurants, they also have supermarkets and a bunch of stuff to do outside. They just like put everything together in one place. Here are some foods to try. Lechon, if you haven't heard, is roast pig in the Philippines. It's like one of their number one, not exports, but it's one of the more iconic foods of the Philippines. Fruits, I love the fruits in the Philippines. Mangoes, mangoes are my favorite fruit, and the ones in the Philippines were just like the best I've ever had. I had everything mango, like mangoes for breakfast, mango juice, mango shakes. Bananas there, those little ones are also great. Bought a bunch and ate a bunch. They taste different and a bit sweeter than those big American bananas. Pause. I discovered bulalo, which was really good. Ginatang mais, if you're into like Mexican street corn, this is the Filipino version made with coconut milk, so it's a little bit sweeter than that, but it's still like salty. Seafood. I loved everything seafood over here, especially in Boracay. They got shrimps, scallops, giant squids. All of the fish was good. But then again, I'm like a seafood guy, so I'm biased. Balut, controversial, but I like it. I've had it my whole life. Halo halo. This is like my favorite dessert because it's like you just put everything sweet over ice. Most places have it with condensed milk, ice, and ube ice cream, but my favorite was the ones that had like banana in it. Banana. You can put that in halo halo. Chocolate. They still have real chocolate over there. Whether it be in like a mocha or from candy bars, their chocolate there is richer and deeper than the ones that I have in America. Inflation, by the way, look into that. Chocolate does taste different now, and it's not just you. Some fast food and restaurants I recommend are Chowking, Shakey's, Kenny Rogers Roasters, Jollibee, Max's Restaurant, McDonald's. With the food stuff being said, if you're traveling to the Philippines, I recommend bringing probiotics and medicine with you. Probiotics to help your digestion and your gut, because oh boy, can your stomach get messed up over here. You've probably heard that the only water you should drink there is bottled water, like distilled water from restaurants, and of course tap water is gonna mess you up. If you bring cough medicine, Tums, Mucinex, or anything like that, I recommend. With my group of people, like 15 of them were sick half the time, if not the entire time. And coming back, my parents were sick, so yeah, bring medicine with you. So, what did I learn? It's a beautiful country. Like, really, the people there are beautiful inside and out. Environment and the places I saw were beautiful. The energy over there and the vibe that I caught was a beautiful feeling. If you have family or friends in the Philippines that you're willing to see, go see them if you can. The people there speak English and they have English signs everywhere, so doing stuff and talking to people is actually doable. I did expect to see and taste new things, but I wasn't expecting the new smells that I would encounter there too. Yeah, Manila is like very polluted, right? There's a lot of smog. I ended up having to wear a mask when I was outside because I wasn't used to it. I felt nauseous walking around without a mask. It's overcrowded there, and a lot of the people are poor. But at least the people I interacted with were getting along just fine. Like, they just shrug things off, and they have a survivalist mentality. Like, anything that they can do to survive, they'll survive. They're very resourceful. Things are a lot cheaper over there in the Philippines. Like, food is cheaper, clothes are cheaper, like doing anything is a lot cheaper than it is here in America due to their lower standard and cost of living. Yeah, when you eat out over there, you could feed like 4 people for under $20. It's crazy. It's a hard place to live, but it's a beautiful place. And I really enjoyed my time over there. So if it's within your cards, I highly recommend that you go to the Philippines. Go at least once if you're Filipino and you've never been. It's a really eye-opening experience. I came out of there thinking, I really don't have much to complain about. It was a great healing experience for me. But like, if you're just wanting to party, go to Boracay. So this one's a little bit of a different video from the ones I've been making. A little impromptu video, huh? I was just so moved by this experience that I wanted to share it, and I was getting repetitive to my friends, so I had to make a video. If you made it here and you're still watching, subscribe! I know my first few videos, I was like, oh, subscribe for more, and then I didn't upload anything for like 5 months, but I've pulled myself out of a rut, and I've got some other video ideas that I'm working on. I just decided to make this one in between all of that. Alright, bye.